patience, be a long-term investor, be prepared financially and psychologically to live through a series of bull markets and bear markets, because in the long run, common stocks will pay off enormously. The next bull market will carry prices far higher than this one.
Why?
Because the whole nation is growing more rapidly. Gross national product of the nation will double in at least the next 10 years. We think the gross national product of the nation 40 years from now will be 64 times as high as it is now. And that will be reflected in sales volume and profits and share prices. So that from a long-term investment standpoint, it's a question of when should you put your money into stocks. We can't give you the exact day, but sometime the bull market will start again and you want to be in on it. To be successful in investing, you have to keep changing your ideas all the time, more than once a year. The main idea I had back then was that in England, people invested worldwide.
Right.
But in America, they invested 95% in America. And I was going to show them how, the lowest in relation to many factors. But the biggest factor is earnings. How low is it in relation to earnings? How low in relation to growth trend? How low in relation to dividends? How low in relation to book value? How low in relation to competitors?
So you would look at comparative numbers?
Right. Sometimes they are. And of course, we make hundreds of mistakes all the time. But we have found, from the very time we started our investment council operation 44 years ago, we published as the motto of our business to buy when others are despondently selling, and to sell when others are avidly buying requires the greatest fortitude and pays the greatest reward. Now, this applies not only to stock market cycles, but it applies to particular industries and types of stocks. Basically, we determine that by finding out what is selling at a depressed price. If a stock is selling for a quarter or a half of what it's worth, then it is a bargain and is, in most cases, unpopular with other investors. We are worldwide bargain hunters. We search all over the world and make estimates of the values of each corporation, and then buy those shares that have the lowest market price at the time in relation to our estimate of value. Very difficult, and very few bargains to be found there, and more bargains to be found in America and other nations. We never approach it that way. Almost all security analysts ask themselves which nation and which industry before they make a selection. If no one were doing it, that would be a good method. But since the best results are obtained in those areas where other security analysts are not working, we just say we will buy the best bargain we can find, then later find out what nation it's in. Now, approaching it from that end, we have found an unusually large amount of bargains recently in the United States. We keep changing. What I said, and we do not ordinarily make predictions, but I said that the chances were as good as even that would happen. And I'm saying today that the chances are as good as even that the Dow Jones someday might be above 3,000 before the next presidential election 3.5 years from now. We base that on a long list of reasons, partly based on value and partly based on cash available. This takeover mania proves the fact that corporations on the stock exchange are selling for much less than they're really worth. Also, the same thing is proven by the fact that more corporations than ever are buying in their own shares. So that it's a further evidence that values are unusually low now. Probably in the fact that I look worldwide more than the others do and search in a wider variety of areas. Probably because I'm willing to make estimates of earning power further into the future than others are, and certainly because I rely on prayer in everything we do. We open all of our directors' meetings with prayer. We pray about every decision we make, and in the long run, that means you will still make hundreds of mistakes, but less mistakes than otherwise.
Did they ask you whether you prayed for stocks to go up?
Well, yes. That would not work, of course. If we prayed for something we bought to go up, it would be ridiculous. So instead of that, I think we would try to follow Solomon, who prayed for wisdom.